Hi, and welcome to If These Heels Could Talk.
And we're especially recording at the end of the day because there is a vicious snowstorm gathering.
Go figure.
Starting, Minnesota in winter. Oh my gosh.
Shocking.
Yes. So you have to be flexible. And so we're not going to record on a cold, snowy, snowed in morning and try to get here by 6:30 or 7 while we're digging ourselves out of our driveways.
And we thought I thought this topic was really good. She brought it up. I started asking questions. We went pause.
We have to have this conversation.
Like just somebody hit record so we can save everybody else all the time.
So should we introduce ourselves and then we can start talking about the things?
Okay, fine. Hi, I'm JoyGenea with Solutions by JoyGenea.
And I'm Michelle with Bad Cat Digital. We are completely accidentally matching today, sort of.
If you can see us, we're in the plums.
But today we were talking about the announcement that Meta meaning Facebook and Instagram, the parent company to Facebook, / the umbrella that everybody's hiding under at Facebook versus, Alphabet, the umbrella that everybody
I was just going to say
hides under. Moving on, won't editorialize that anymore. Anyway, Meta announced just 48 hours ago that they are going to start with verified accounts for a paid subscription.
Okay, what exactly does verified mean?
Verified means that in order to get some sort of visual designation on Facebook and Instagram, users would have to verify their identity. So submit a government issued identification and verify that they're the identity details that they provide to the platform are correct. This is the same thing that Twitter does. And Twitter did before the most recent current craziness, which we've avoided talking about thus far.
Yes,
and we will continue to avoid talking about. But this is a paid subscription. Basically, it turns Facebook and Instagram into a paid subscription. And they're promising a lot with it. Reading. So I first read a news article on CNN. But then I went to Meta's actual blogs, announcements, support channel, what they're doing. And you can actually follow Mark Zuckerberg's Meta updates, Meta verification updates on, there's a special Instagram group or channel for it. But all that to be said, they're rolling this out the end of this week in Australia and New Zealand. The dates for the rest of the world have yet to be determined or yet to be published. But there is a lot of pending questions with this. And when something hits the news like this, we really, a lot of times we'll have more questions than we have answers. And even clients are starting to ask questions. And it's we don't have all of these answers yet. So verification is going to be, it sounds like profile based, not page based. So if you know kind of that language difference in the Meta universe with Facebook, a person is a profile, a business or an organization or an institution is a page.
So to start out with, from what we understand, my personal page,
your personal profile,
verified, my personal profile, JoyGenea Schumer, I don't think that's a hidden secret. That if I wanted it verified, I would then need to pay what's kind of the starting rate?
It depends on the avenue that you pay through. If you pay through an Android or a desktop device, it's $11 a month or so. If you pay through an iOS device, or it is $14. Speculation because of the extra fees for the Apple Store. But that is per month. Per month.
And what would that get my beautiful personal account?
So it gives you some sort of visual identification that you've been verified. Supposedly, it also gives you a reach boost, and some heightened security features should there be some sort of attempt to steal your account or anything like that. You'd have more recourse, a direct customer support line for verified people, that sort of thing. But remember, that's for profiles, not for business pages.
So my next thought is, how many people are still hanging out on Facebook, but not really it's not their primary social media.
And that's the chance. That's the chance that everybody that they're taking, right? So the chance that Meta is taking is that people who are active users will become verified creators. Like people on TikTok or people on Snapchat or people on Twitter, creators who want to build a community on the channel will stick around and pay.
So then,
and other people won't run screaming for the hills when they don't get the same things when you're not paid.
So as of right now, my business account, your Bad Cat digital account, that will not need.
So every business page is owned by a personal profile. That's really important for people to understand. Even business like Meta Business, which is kind of a platform or an interface where you can kind of control different individual levels and access to pages. At the end of the day, every business or organization, not only page, but also ad account has to be owned by an individual profile. Mm-hmm. So my question is, and this is a question, I haven't seen anything on this yet, is will I still be allowed to do that, to have those business entities if my personal profile is not verified?
Yeah,
because that's what I was thinking. There are other platforms where in order to have some sort of business presence, you have to have a verified personal profile, or your business has to have a certain threshold of followers.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. So this is going to change things.
It's going to change things.
Like, let's be realistic. This is going to change the landscape.
And not having
we
answers.
Don't know, we don't know in what way right now.
Not having answers to these questions means we don't know how. But they're talking about Australia and New Zealand as though it were a beta test for this system. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see
what they
how
learn.
Usership changes. Now, keep in mind that I think the stat that I read, please correct me, people, message us if I'm wrong. But the stat that I read was 17% of Twitter users are verified.
That's what I was going to ask.
And that's before the whole mess the last 2 months. So that 17% of Twitter users are verified. So that's not a super high percentage. But when you think about that in terms of raw numbers and revenue, that is a pretty firm revenue line, and it creates the possibility of kind of a class system, I guess, for lack of a better.
I can see that
on these social media platforms where if you pay to play, you have a lot of benefits and you're able to kind of build a community. Mm-hmm. And if you choose not to, or you choose to have a variety of kind of identities with which to anonymously interact with groups, then all of those unverified accounts, you're just not going to get the same play. Now, I also think that the secondary benefit of this is that it will be a lot harder, I think, to have a number of anonymous accounts with which to do things like troll people, start hate groups, anonymously comment on Facebook stalk people. And I'm not making light of when I use this terminology, I'm not making light of bullying that happens online or in real life. In fact, I'm actually making a comment on programs like this actually make it harder for those people, because programs like this make it de-incentivize that behavior by incentivizing the other behavior. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of that carrot and a stick approach, right? But it's really interesting because a lot of people do create multiple personalities or multiple, personas or accounts on some of these platforms. And with a verification process and a government ID, you won't be able to do that. The other common business practice that I see that is already a violation of terms, so if you're doing this, please stop doing this, is that because people don't want the business account or business page connected to any one individual, they create a fake person to manage a business page. It is completely a violation of terms, and it will get your business page or your ad account shut down so fast. Yep. And we've
both seen it.
We've both seen it. You could go years without getting caught, and then all of a sudden one day
you're like, I can't get in my account. I had all these followers. I have all this stuff.
And there's nothing anybody can do for you because what you were doing was a violation of the platform's terms. So what do you want from us?
And you said yes. There was a little box that popped up that you never read, that you scrolled real quick and said, sure.
Yeah. So we have more questions than answers for right now. So we're going to keep this post pretty short because there isn't a lot to say. But what is to say, though, is that it's going to change. This is going to change the landscape.
And so if Facebook is your primary advertising tool, it might be it's time to start looking around and seeing what might be.
Well, and if you're building an entire business around somebody else's platform, we have said it over and over and over again. I think we could probably dig up an episode from 2 years ago where I said, I wonder how long it's going to be before Facebook starts requiring you to pay for an account.
Yeah.
So welcome to the new world. Yeah. And if you are building an entire business around somebody else's platform so that you don't own any of the entities, any of the properties, any of the intellectual property that you put out, you're just asking for trouble long term.
And I know it doesn't feel like it because you're getting positive affirmations from followers, and you're like, this is great, and it's not a problem. We promise you, when you can't access it, when all of a sudden it all plummets, you'll go, but why?
But why?
And we will tell you the same thing. You didn't own it.
It's the same thing it's the same thing I tell people when they call and they say, well, we're just going to sell it through Amazon. We're not going to build our own website. Okay. But if it gets really popular, what's going to happen is Amazon's going to start manufacture it themselves, undercut you in their algorithm. And in the meantime, you're giving away 30% of your margin. Yeah. So use the tool, but build yourself infrastructure that you own in addition to.
Who do you see? This was one of my last questions. Who do you see as this possibly opening the door for? Are there other platforms that are kind of on the edge that this might possibly?
That's interesting. That's an interesting question.
Because every time restrictions like that kind of come up, that is when people.
Well, I think Instagram Reels has really been making a play for TikTok, and I think this will be really interesting to see because TikTok's winning already. But Instagram Reels has been trying to kind of take that on. Account. But now,
by the way, is it a monthly fee for? Does that
cover? From my understanding and my reading, is it for Facebook and Instagram?
Okay, so it covers both.
Yes.
Okay.
In my understanding.
Oh, okay. It's getting more interesting.
Yeah, but I'd have to see what it does with WhatsApp because WhatsApp is also a Meta property.
Is there a lot of advertising on WhatsApp?
I mean, there are advertising channels on WhatsApp, but WhatsApp is primarily used as like a group chat.
Yeah.
It's not really, I don't know that I don't know that I commonly think of it as a social media channel the same way. But it is for a lot of people and for a lot of businesses, you can do a lot of like Q&A stuff through WhatsApp and have some cool stuff running through WhatsApp. So it's definitely worth looking at. So I do think that it could open the door for some things, but I don't know that it's going to open the door for anything that we haven't heard of.
Okay.
It's one of those things. I was thinking about this the other day because when Facebook first started, when it was still Facebook and when it first started,
when it was for just college students,
that's what I was going to say. Right? A lot of people don't remember that when Facebook started, it was only for college students.
Oh, I didn't mean to take your thunder.
And
sorry.
No, it's okay. You didn't take my thunder. You added to the beauteous rainbow of thunder. But I was in undergrad. It was my second role at undergrad. So I was like 25. But I was in undergrad when Facebook kind of came out and you had to be a college student. And I signed up because all of my friends were signing up. And that was a brilliant social media rollout. Mm-hmm. But I think the thing that people don't understand is that those people, the people who signed up then, have been on Facebook for 20 years.
Okay, you're right. I hadn't realized that.
20 years. I mean, if I'm mathing, 17 years, 20 years. Yeah. So, a lot of, it's such a inherent, it's such a habit to, especially now that your phone's in your hand. Cause at the time, of course, there wasn't that.
It wasn't that. Yeah.
But it's such a habit. Like all I had to do is put the word F in on a desktop browser and it goes to Facebook. I mean, it's such a habit to just open it up while you're standing in line or scroll through, it's not everybody and it's not the go-to for everybody. I think every kind of generation, and I think our concept of generation is getting shorter and shorter. Yeah. But every generation is going to have their own one. And my generation is this. And so whenever people say Facebook is dying or Facebook is going away or Facebook is not, it's ubiquitous. It is almost simultaneous with the internet for some people, the way that Google is almost simultaneous with the internet for some people.
Yeah.
And that makes it really, really hard to go away completely or be completely replaced, because there's never been a social media platform like that. And the only one that has really competed in terms of time in front of people's faces and users globally is TikTok.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting.
So we'll be interested to see what happens
and watch for updates and so
watch
forth.
for updates. This one's going to be in the news. This one's big. Yeah. And the other thing that's happening in the world of social media that we're watching carefully is some court decisions are coming out about whether social media is can be managed under some of the same content management laws that traditional media is managed under.
The news, that type of...
the news, TV, all of them kind of are held to a standard of content, and social media is not, because it's user generated. And so that's they're out for, not removing harmful content, and other people might say that as censoring content. Depending on your point of view, it might be a little bit of both. 6 of one, half dozen of the other. But there's some really interesting court cases flying through right now, and there's some interesting decisions about to be made. So stay tuned. The world of social media is going to be, I think, shaken in the next several months. But I don't know that it's going to be fundamentally different by the end of the year.
Interesting.
So, I think it'll be.
This has been good.
I think there'll be a couple of earthquakes.
Thank you, Michelle, for bringing us that little update.
Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody. This has been If These Heels Could Talk. Thank you so much for joining us, and watch the news about Meta.